Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and on this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, trying to get folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. When you're watching this, I believe it's the day after Easter, so if you celebrated, yay! If you didn't, also, yay! Day off, hopefully. So, we're talking about Twitter today. And specifically, how do I put this? Twitter's not a thing. Stop. Okay? So how do we go about this? I should have given this some more thought before I got on camera here, right? There's a lot of people who come in with cases, and there's not a lot. We'll call it 2%, maybe 1% of cases. They come in and they're like, hey, I want you to keep my case open as long as you can. And I want to make as big a splash in the media as I can. And I'll say, okay, that's not what we do. We're here to win cases, but I'll hear you out. What reason do you have? Do you want to keep the case open to safeguard your career? You want to have time to make a transition? Is there some special metric in your workplace you need to hit, time-wise, for retirement or for a bonus? What are we talking about here? And all of those reasons might be very legitimate, and you can have those conversations with your attorney, right? But sometimes, in the 1% of folks who come in, they say, well, I want to spin this into a gay guy's an influencer on social media. Okay. All right. That's not what we do. We're a law firm. We win cases. We win and settle cases. We go out and we rip money out of people, and then we hand it to you and we say, we'll take our percentage now, please. Right? Now, I'm not against you becoming Insta-famous or becoming a Twitterati or whatever it is, the TikToky, right? You can be those things. If those things make you happy, then I'm thrilled that you obtain them as a result of going through some very difficult things in the workplace, right? That's a good thing. I want you to have the things you want, right? Bad things happen. It's thrilling to me if good things that you want then happen to you, even if I don't care about them or value them, right? Who am I to substitute my judgment for you? However, often you'll be running a case, and the case will have been open for, let's say a year, and the employer comes in with a giant bag of cash. Giant. Sometimes you're sitting on a case that's probably worth about $600K, and the employer comes with $3 million. Well, I'm listening. we can talk about it, employer. I don't know. I'll see what my client has to say, right? We don't $3 million. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna do it. I'll call my client. I'll get back to you next week, right? Obviously, you're not gonna get excited. You can't get excited on the phone. But at the end of the day, the employer knows basically the case is worth $600K, and they're offering $3 million, right? So you call up your client, and your client might say something like, I don't know about $3 million. I'm gaining 1,000 followers a day on TikTok. My friend, TikTok's about to be banned. TikTok is making Congress angry. It's eating the lunch of the U.S. social media companies. It's gone. They're kicking it out. It's over. Your TikTok follower count is meaningless. You can use a VPN to access it anyways if you want, but your followers are not going to be valuable on the TikToky. Well, okay. Forget my TikTok then. I have 60,000 followers on Twitter. Okay, so that's another way of saying you have 40,000 bots on Twitter and 20,000 humans, and most of those humans are not active. That's not valuable. It's just not a thing. 60,000 followers on Twitter is not a notable or necessarily valuable resource. It could be if you have a monetization strategy. Like if you have a special plan. I'll give you an example. Epic Gardening. It's like a YouTube channel. But they have the Twitter. They have the whole social media platform, right? And they go out and they buy themselves a garden bed. Like a raised bed company. And then I think, or they have an affiliate deal with the raised bed company, and then they go and buy themselves a seed company, which gives them a huge amount of products to sell for cheap, right? They can sell you seeds for $5. And the beauty of that is your fans are fans of you because you like gardening. You're Epic Gardening. That's what you do. You garden. And so your fans are going to say, well, I got to buy seeds anyway, so I might as well buy it from Epic Gardening because they make all that content I like. Okay, so that's a monetization strategy. If you have a monetization strategy, it's possible that your social media fame has real value, right? But being a content creator on something like a Facebook or a Twitter or a TikTok generally is not that valuable. Now listen, YouTube is a little bit different. YouTube pays way more than all the other social networks. I kind of want to say it pays more than all of them combined. I don't know that for a fact. That's how it feels. Like, I am the smallest of the small in terms of YouTube. And even they're mailing me checks, right? Like, it's silly. It's silly, right? But YouTube actually does pay quite well. And if you're building YouTube fame, maybe that's a thing. But even then, I mean, are you going to have 1 million followers? That's like the bare minimum if you're going to live off your YouTube, right? And not for nothing, like, it's not enough to go through something to get YouTube fame. Like, you have to create content. It's not on Twitter. You can just say, 240 characters once or twice a week, and you can gain some kind of notoriety. People will retweet you and maybe read your tweets and think you're insightful, and then maybe like news programs will call you and have you on. And I've had that conversation. People are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do the news circuit route, and that's gonna be my career from now on. I'm not gonna work anymore. Well, I do that circuit. Allow me to assure you, those gigs do not pay well, right? Half of those gigs you're doing for exposure. I kid you not. They'll call you up like, hey, we need you in the studio next week. We need you in. It's going to be like a 6-hour thing. We're going to do 2 hours in makeup because you're fucking ugly, Vince. And you're all shiny, right? And then we're going to have you talk for about 6 minutes. And your day is going to be shot. And you're going to do it for free. Or, and I kid you not, sometimes they'll be like, hey, we're thinking of having you on the show. And this is certain networks. Certain networks will be like, hey, we're thinking about having you on the show. You want to give us $6,000? No, I don't. I don't want to give you $6,000. Well, but we get a lot of viewers. No, you don't. You get few. Network news? I assure you, you're not doing well. You're getting your lunch eaten by like YouTube news programs. Like, network news, mainstream media is collapsing. When they're like, yeah, you should pay us $6,000 to be on our show. Like, motherfucker, you had 200,000 uniques in primetime yesterday. No one cares. No one's paying you for exposure. Get out of here. But listen, I'll talk to reporters for free all the time. I look at it as you're helping people, right? Getting information out there because there's a lot of nonsense that gets reported. So if you can give people some actual information, that has value. But the idea that you're going to be making spots on like Fox or MSNBC or CNN and you're going to live off that? No. Maybe if you're selling a book, maybe you might promote your book a little bit, but like, it's not a living. That's not a thing. So when you're having these conversations with people, they're like, yeah, I'm going to flip my case into like social media influencer fame. What I often just say is, okay, so like what's your like strategy? What's your monetization plan? How is this going to benefit you? And the response is often, I'll be famous. or I'll write a book, or I'll sell the rights to my experience. Do you know how many millions of people experience workplace discrimination and workplace sexual harassment? I mean, let's all women experience workplace sexual harassment, as far as I can tell. So you're like, yes, I would like $5 million for the rights to my story. And Hollywood's like, yeah, you're one in every one story that every woman in the world has, you moron. Like, every woman's been sexually harassed. So if you want $5 million, why don't I go to this person who's going to take it for $1? I'll buy the rights to her story for $1. It's the same story. What are we doing? So I guess this is meant as like a bit of a reality check. Like, I've had so many conversations about people who are going to write their book. I'm aware in my career of all the conversations about all the books that I've ever heard about. I think one book actually got written, and I'm not sure if more than 5 people read it. All the times people are going to sell their story, or listen, you can, if you're a reality TV star and you experience some wild discrimination on the set, you can probably sell your story for a bit of a bump in terms of like certain news outlets, big quotes on that one. They'll pay for a story sometimes, or sometimes people pay for catch and kill. That's a reality too. So I'm not saying there's no value. I'm not saying you can't get anything. I'm just saying almost no amount of influencer fame. That's not the right way to say that. Less than like 1 or 2% of influencers are going to be making more money than they probably would have made on a really good workplace discrimination case or workplace sexual harassment case, right? The case is probably more valuable. And the way to prove me wrong is to have a really smart monetization strategy, which is why we just talked about epic gardening, because like that's a really good monetization strategy, right? So often what I'll say, and this does annoy people so much, because there's this notion like, no, I'm famous now, the money just comes. No, that is not accurate. This is why reality TV stars and influencers constantly get in trouble, and like you see them in legal battles, because they have fame, and then to monetize that fame they have to do things like take questionable money to like vouch for crypto exchanges that are definitely fraudulent, or like they like want money so they sign up with Gary Vaynerchuk's like obviously fraudulent NFT collective or whatever. Sorry, Gary. I mean, you seem like you might have been a swell guy, but that NFT thing is like, ooh, makes you look evil. Makes you look evil. Makes me sad, frankly. I used to watch Wine Library TV. That's why they're always in trouble, because they can't figure out how to make money. So think about that when you're talking to your attorney about how you don't want to settle your case because you think you're going to be famous. Or the good news is maybe non-disparagement agreements and confidentiality agreements are going out of style. Maybe based on recent NLRB findings, you can have both. You can have your case and have your settlement and potentially still share your story and try to garner the fame that you hope for, which I want you to have if it makes you happy. I just also want you to understand that like the fame doesn't come with a check attached, usually. It might come with like a bag of clothes that you get to try on and be like, these clothes are great. That's, if you think that's a living, that something, I guess, I don't know. But as somebody who represents a couple of influencers and has litigated a fair number of reality TV debacles, I just got to tell you, it's not as simple to monetize that game as you think it is. Influencers are not stupid, or at the very least, they have management or representation that's not stupid. Like, it is complex. It is a complex game. It is difficult and tricky to get paid. Can be done. It can be done. There's no question. But I get sad when I see people destroy their cases because they think they're going to be on cable news or like famous on Twitter. That makes me sad because I've never seen it work out ever. And I can say that, and they're going to say, Vince, you're so stupid. Why are you so stupid? And I'm like, that's fair. I am pretty stupid, you know? But it's been 3 years. You're not famous. You're not making money. So, what are we doing? Anyways, I hope this helps someone, somewhere. And if it does, like, subscribe, comment down below. If it doesn't, if I'm wrong, if you have an amazing monetization strategy and I am a fool and you are going to be famous on TikTok even after it's banned, let me know. I, too, would like to be famous. Not really. I'm not. I would instantly be canceled for something stupid. Remember, everybody works. Not everybody wins.